We're going to start by revisiting this question from geometry class. If sine of theta, and theta is the variable that is the angle, equals 0.9397, what is that angle? Now, I don't know. I don't know how to do this in my head. I don't know what this looks like, but I do know that we need to get rid of the sine. The thing that gets rid of the sine is the sine inverse. So we're going to do this to both sides of the equation. And that will undo the sine. Those two essentially cancel each other out. And so we're left with just the variable theta here. And if we look this up on our table or in the calculator, it should be 70 degrees. This works for other things as well. The idea of a function and its inverse, the inverse is just to go in the opposite direction. So we can ask ourselves what value of a will give the function of a equals 2. And we can look there, we just look here in the right-hand column instead in the range and say what went to that, and we're going to go backwards. So basically what the function is doing is it's putting the arrow on the other end of these lines. This is the inverse function now, in pink. And we call this f inverse, written f-1. That doesn't mean we're taking the reciprocal. It means that we're going backwards through the function. So if we're going to ask the question, what is a, the thing that we need to do algebraically is undo the f. So to undo the f, you do its inverse in the same way that when you add, you do the subtraction to take the inverse. If you multiply, you divide to take the inverse. But here we're going to do this to both sides. And f of f inverse, or rather f inverse of f, undo each other, and we're just left with the variable a on this side. And then our f inverse table is the pink, so we're going to go from the 2 backwards to the 5. Now that doesn't look terribly difficult in a problem like this. But this idea of functions and inverse functions undoing each other is really, really important in mathematics. So if we take this function, I don't actually know what the inverse function is to get rid of y, but I don't need to. All I need to be able to do is do the inverse of the inverse, which is the function itself. And what you do to one side, you do to the other side. On the left side, f of f inverse undo each other. And we're just left with the y. F of 5 we can find out by plugging in here. This is going to be 3 times 5 minus 4, which is 11. So y equals 11.